convener, yeah, the ANC Greater Joburg, ANC Young Women's Desk in the Greater Joburg region, right?
No, it's a desk of the ANC Women's League. So it's not a structure, it's a desk. So it's an ANC Women's League, Young Women Desk.
Right.
Great.
So tell me the difference. What does the desk do? But before we can go the desk, let's get a quick intro of who Khumo is. Khumo utswaletse ko kae? Khumo the child, and now Khumo is a mother and a leader, a former ANC Youth League REC member, and there's a lot of things. She's a teacher, by the way, and she's a TikToker. But before we get into that, tell us more about who Khumo is.
Right. Thank you very much for giving me the time and the opportunity. Good afternoon to your listeners, to your viewers on all socials and all the platforms.
Yeah.
My story. Okay, my name is Khumo. I was born in Soweto for some awkward reason.
Okay.
I was born in Soweto exactly 3 months after freedom. So you have an idea of how old I may be. Right. So I stayed there, I think, until my toddler days.
Okay.
When I was 2 years, and then my parents. So there was a new development, like a mushroom, informal settlement that was mushrooming in Ekurhuleni.
Okay.
It was called Winnie Mandela. I think it's still there even now.
Okay.
Then my parents moved there.
Okay.
It was easy, Mazenke Mkuku, and that's it. And then I grew up. Part of my my life, I remember I was at Ekurhuleni, Kotembisa, and then just before I had to start school, schools were very far. Like I said, I grew up in a developed informal settlement, so schools were far, services were very far.
Okay.
Then my mom decided that she must deport us to formerly known as Buputatswana. Where the ancestors were. I started schooling there, and then just before I went to grade 5, my mom relocated to Matoleville. That's when I completed my primary school. I went to Forte High School up until certain years, and I was deported back to the Northwest. That's when I matriculated, and then I came back to Joburg just during my gap year, because I had a gap year. Then I came back to Joburg, and then gap year, then I went to school, the site, and then the rest is history.
So explain to me, in terms of your political journey, what drew you to politics and the ANC?
It's a scary one. I didn't know it would get to where I am, because eventually when I started, so my political journey started at varsity, right? So I was interested in joining. I remember the time SESCO was led at campus, UJ Soweto campus. SESCO was led by the likes of Comrade Banele, the likes of Comrade Amukenan Mashel. So I want to do this politics, right? But there's this narrative that when you join politics, you take time to graduate, because now politics takes over part of your studying life. So when I joined back then, it was more of just an extra thing that I do outside, because my focus when I got to varsity was to finish university on record time, so that I can go and find employment and be able to provide for my family and my mom. So when I started, it was really something that I never thought it would be here. It was from the SASCO days. I remember the Feast Must Fall days. I must say that just one was actually intrigued by how girls at the time were leading us to fight for these fees. Like one would say, why is it girls that are there? And I think after the SASCO days, obviously graduation happened. Then I went back to my home, which is Matoleville. Then I started there. As a youth leader, of course, in the branch, deputy secretary of the branch. I moved until where I find myself now. But it was more of having to making a difference. What ways can you make a difference? Politics is part of our lives. I think life it's around politics. Everything finds itself coming back to to politics. So it was more of just advocating for being people's voices, because not everybody's able to speak out about certain things. Not everybody's able to address their challenges. So I think it was more of that, but it started during my SASCO days. Yes.
So let's talk about the Young Women's Desk now. The controversial Young Women's Desk.
Why?
But it's a story for another day. But let's talk about the desk itself. What's your roles and responsibility as a young woman's desk?
Right. So remember the desk. First thing first, that I think we must just be out there. It's not a structure necessarily. It's a desk that is within the Women's League. Right, so we call it. It's referred to Amayanga.
Yes.
And Amayanga. If you get, I think let's take it back to the youth league.
Yeah.
Right. So youth league, you are a member from until 35. Right.
Yeah.
But then what happens to you as Comrade Queen? You are 35. You are 35 and.
Sorry.
Okay, I can continue.
Yeah, please do.
Right, you are 35. You graduated from the youth league, and then where do you find yourself politically? Remember, Women's League back then it was no, I got distracted.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Right, so the purpose of the desk is to rally young women behind the banner of the ANC, of course, through the banner of the Women's League.
Okay.
So it's more of breaching the gap, because remember now, when you're 35, you're no longer a youth leader. I think it's a gap of that, the 35 to 40 gap women whom are very active and still want to advocate for rights of young women. Remember, a woman's league who's 53 wouldn't necessarily have challenges that a 35 or a 36-year-old have. So I think that's where the role of young women does come. Not only obviously focusing on 35-year-olds, but just young women in general, to be able to be in a space where they can express themselves as women. Youth league, it's a marathon.
Yeah, marathon.
It's a marathon, but I think then the young women desk now becomes a safe space for young women to be able to advocate for rights of other women, to be able to express themselves about challenges that young women face. Like I said, a 53-year-old one have challenges that I have as a 32-year-old, or so it becomes then a breaching gap in terms of that, and just advocating for women, young women, advocate every day. We advocate for women.
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere, every space. We breathe that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what are some of the challenges that the Young Women's Desk encounter on a day-to-day?
Young women desk, or young women in particular?
Young women, including I get it. Your programs or your activations or your activities are around young women.
Okay.
So, what are some of those challenges that young women would come to you with and say, these are some of the challenges that we have, or some of the challenges that you see? Young women are encountering these much challenges.
Right. I hope I'm not going to sound like tautology.
Yeah.
The challenge of inequality is still a thorny issue. Young women are often, I don't want to say closed doors, but they are limited in terms of employment. If you check the stats, majority of people, it's women, particularly between the age of 30 to, it's us, 30 to 35.
Yeah.
I mean, to 45.
Yeah.
The issue of unemployment remains an issue, and it attacks a girl child. We often find ourselves in a space where now we have to almost like dilute yourself in order to become popular, whether in the workplace, whether in the political space. Challenges that we also face is limited information that leads to limited resources. Because just now I was having a conversation about endometriosis. I think it's a new I'm not sure if it's new or what, but it's something that we're not aware, where our 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds go through, where you have your periods. Normally we have 3 to 7 days, but then you find yourself that your lining has broken, and then you go over beyond 20 days. And what happens to that? You still have to go to school, but you cannot do that. But I think the most challenge is that unemployed and just not being able to express ourselves, whether in the workplace and everywhere else. Gender-based violence, I think it's a cancer now. I think it's one of the things that needs to be declared as a pandemic of some sort. We often, if you check the stats, it's women, it's young women who are victims of this gender-based violence. So there are quite a lot, but I think that's what's special for me is the issue of inequality, unemployment, as well as gender-based violence.
Yeah. And, you know, the other day we were talking about teenage pregnancy around townships, especially where young women are falling pregnant, young women are having children, and they are the ones that have to, you know, have the weight in terms of raising these children, be it as single parents, and the blame always falls on young women. How is the Young Women's Desk addressing that issue?
Right. It goes back to the information. Our girls are aware of these different methods of contraceptives that are there, that are in place. And when it comes to teenage pregnancy, I hope you're not referring to a pregnancy where one is raped. We're referring to,
No.
Yeah,
the one
right to information, and then, but what do we do with that information? As early as grade 7, Lena is 12 to 13.
Yeah.
There is a curriculum that is based on methods on contraceptives of how best to weigh, because if it's not a condom, then you can have birth control. And also under the birth control, there's many methods that one can opt to. So I think lack of information, it also plays a role, but I will give 10% of ignorance. 90% may be that we are not fully aware of methods or options that we may have. 10% may be ignorance. I remember it may be ignorance in the sense that we are aware. Maybe let's give it 5. I'm going to give a 5 to another department. 5% comes maybe from a girl child being ignorant at some point, because like I said, curriculum in grade 7, we speak about methods of pregnancy. We speak about condom. It's even taboo. It's even a joke when you speak to a 13 or a 12-year-old about condoms and how they must use it, as if they don't use it. But then now when they get to grade 8, which is high school,
the pressure.
what happened?
Yeah.
Remember we were speaking about a condom just last year. Then what happened? Do you understand? And then 5% will then come to our health care. I'm giving it 5 because they are my colleagues in government. I don't want problems with them. Is it accommodative to go to the clinic and ask a nurse about condoms? With the tiny,
especially as a young person.
I can imagine tiny 14-year-old going to Lobota nurse Punangan about what birth method do I have as a 13-year-old? Is our health institution that accommodative that a girl child can go and inquire about that? So I'm giving the 5% to that. Another thing, when I'm pregnant at 15, how accommodative it is for me to go to clinic and hospital and ask about abortion. How is it accommodative? How are you not going to I'm pregnant, yes, I'm 14, but how going to hospital, how will that assist me in terms of giving? Because abortion is, and it's one of the methods. It's allowed, you know. It can be taboo, but it's an option for one not to be a parent. So how the 5% also comes from that. But I think the point here is just education, sharing information, and just being there for one another as women. Because at God Clinicing, the first person that you would feel comfortable to speak about in terms of condoms or birth controls, it has to be a female staff. So it's a matter of just being there for one another the best way that we can.
And then let's touch base. You touch base on gender-based violence, and every day when you open your Facebook page, Kibo RIP, you open your TikTok account, like there's so many of these cases. Even currently in Soweto, there's a child who tuned, and it's a day-to-day thing. So how best do you think this you know, Kana never during COVID, ilaba pandemic.
Yes.
Number 2. So how can we prevent this, or how can we engage each other, because it looks like there's a barrier where men feel entitled, and in turn from khale or munna will give you this and then and then some of these incidents are like there's crime now where women are being killed because you can't do that. We see a lot of videos study road rage where men feel like no woman must talk to me, and it's Women's Month now. The number is not decreasing but increasing. So how best can we resolve the issue of gender-based violence and femicide?
Right. I am going to attempt to answer on the basis that I'm in an interview. Obviously, there must be some form of response from myself as a guest. However, those are the questions that must be asked to the people that are actually committing this thing. It cannot be me as a woman to say, for myself to be protected of being killed or of being, I must do this.
We are driving, we are in Ubers.
I understand, Queen. I'm just going to attempt to answer because I'm here. I also don't know as a woman, what must I do to avoid to be kidnapped? As I request to go to a mall. As a woman, I'm not sure what must I do to avoid to be human trafficked. Exactly. So it's not something that a woman can actually have an answer to say, but maybe if I do this or I don't do this as a woman, I won't be. I think it's a conversation that involves both genders.
Okay.
There's an element of, we like having this conversation around ourselves as women, as if we are the one who is causing this thing, but we are leaving the gender that is behind this. It's a conversation that we must have with these men. Now with these men, what are we doing now? We are also inviting a boy child, so that these men take a responsibility to induct this boy child how to conduct themselves towards a woman. Because you cannot sit and say, Comrade Khumo, to avoid to be hijacked, don't request. No, I have to go to the mall. I must do certain things. So,
but also we still have the issue. There's a new thing of young women that also kill men. I think it's a conversation. I think I would have to agree with you that it's a conversation that both genders must have.
Must also
so that we know how we can coexist around each other, how we can push, and because at the end of the day, I think it's becoming more of. When it's Women's Month, we try to engage more on these things. She is female. She is like there's a lot of those events, but the gender-based violence is not decreasing either.
I am going to be honest, right?
Yeah.
You know, things of being attacked when you are on the mall and everything, when you are traveling and then you find yourself in, those are things that you cannot control. But there are, it's a very unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
I always say this with the first club go.
Yeah.
Hi, ke mistake, he was drunk. You know how we love
Nakwatile. Yeah.
And another thing, it goes back to the issue of unemployment to women. So if Ushapile Kapama, but he is the provider of the house, what happens to me when I leave? I have these kids. I have these kids that I must give the roof over. I must be able to take care of them. So I'm going to leave that. You see now. That lapper, it builds up, it becomes something. I always say this. I was actually there was a parent that I was meeting at, and I had to do something regarding forms. And I said to her, I'm very proud of you. You walked out, and you walked out alive. That's one thing that women, we are afraid to do. Maybe it's because we know that we are unemployed and we cannot be able to provide for the kids. Yes. But walking away as queen, I'd rather go back, sorry to use my Changana bag, than to go home with a casket. Yes, Bomaki will speak or what, but I'd rather go home than coffin. Understand? So we should also be strong enough to walk away and start all over and have something of your own. You understand? Even if how little it is, but having something of your own, it also assists, it minimize, like I said, it's a more of a conversation involving all genders, but True. Ha simola re mpa mo pa ka beke wa tsama or reverse koloi. Do you understand? So some of the women unfortunately find themselves in those situations because of this issue of not being unemployed. And the issue of judging one another as women, again, we're a problem to ourselves. We are our biggest enemy. Because the first thing when I come back of that marriage that I was abused, the first person who's going to judge me is going to be a woman. Whether my mother, whether my sister, whether my neighbor or my sister cousins. So there's always that thing about I rather stay here because so at the end of the day, we all have a role to play. As much as we can have a conversation with a male person and a male child of how they must conduct themselves, we must also speak to one another as women. You must be able to advise me accordingly what to do. Because what I know, men protect one another.
Yes.
Men protect one another. They will protect. We don't. We are our biggest enemy. So it's not a. I don't think how do we prevent it as a direct answer. It should be an ongoing conversation. It's something that we must have it on daily basis. With another gender, of course, being part of the solution. Yes.
It's just gone 23 minutes before 1 o'clock, and we are having our guest, Cde Khumo, the convener of the ANC Women's League Young Women's Desk. I hope it's correct.
Yes.
And let's talk more about it's elections time now.
Correct.
So what are some of the campaigns that you guys are embarking on, and what are some of the activities this week or even this past weekend?
Yes. Okay, so we have plans with institutions, right? I think that is our most targeted areas, right? And your undergrads, you have undergrads that your first years whom are going to vote for the first time. So it is important, I think through Comrade Palesa, we have programs where we are going to activate campuses and have a conversation of why must we vote. It's going to be a very interesting conversation because in the midst of students having challenges with accommodation and fees not being paid, but we are focusing on that, on having young women obviously at higher institution of learning where we have conversation about why should we continue to vote for ANC and where areas, because now if you want, I believe if you want to grow, you must be able to take the positive and the negative. You must take the good criticism and you must take, so that is part of what we are going to have, I think this week, I think at APK or Soweto campus. Another one is to focus on young workers. I consider myself as a young, not municipal, not some, like young workers. We have young teachers. I'm a teacher, I'm young. We have young nurses. We have young policemen. So the focus is for people that are registered, who are wondering why must I continue to vote for ANC. So we are going to have that young women's dialogue where we have conversation about better ways that ANC can better our lives as it's the residents of the wards, different wards that we stay in. How can the ANC better the city and make it a place where every young woman feel valued. So those are some of the activities that we're going to have. Door to door, but door to door I think is also self-part as to having to interact with the residents, having to hear their challenges, having to note them and reflect on better ways of bettering our people in the society, especially young women with this issue of unemployment. Because women just want to work. They just want to work. They want a city where it allows them to work. Different, whether in the mining sector, whether in the construction, whether it's in the healthcare, or it's just in like becoming a teacher. So those are some of the things that you have to document and ensure that you then submit them to the relevant people that will be who are in a position of changing or enabling those doors to be open. Because young girls just want the door to open.
Yeah. And then Musadi Palong,
Yes.
Youth League has been last year.
Yes.
Or last administration,
Yes.
Even now, the Mochapalong is still gaining
It's
some
part.
momentum. Yeah. Now you are in the Young Women's Desk. What's your view on the Musadi Palong?
That view, I supported 1,000%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mosadi we tshwara ka bogaleng.
Yeah.
High homes are built by women. Right? I think last year Namibia had the first president as a woman. The city we recently have the new chair, which is a woman. Why not? Why not? Even our grannies and our great grandparents, they are the ones who were building a home. While fathers were out working in the mines, there in towns, so Mosadi Palong, it means that women must be given, young women in particular, must be given equal opportunities to lead, because women are born leaders. We are born with it. You know, you get pregnant, no one tells you everything, but you find yourself raising a child who then later raises you. So women must be given equal opportunities. We have the new chair of the region, which is a woman. Namibia has a president, which is I think it's a woman. So why not? Let's just take everything, take over everything, because we have been we've been having everything, so we might as well be given an opportunity to execute. And we speak of young women who are capable, who have shown their leadership skills elsewhere, whether in the student movement or also citing again. That also is a sign. You know, being a secretary that it's showing your skills as a leader. So I am for that.
And then let's talk about the in terms of influence. How do you function as a desk, and also find that work relationship with the ANC, and how do you avoid being influenced, because there's this narrative that women are always influenced by men, and women cannot exist outside men. Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna give another unpopular response.
Yeah.
I think it was the Deputy Minister of Police who spoke about this. Was it last week?
Yeah.
I saw a clip of her saying, "We are not supporting one another enough." Right? We are not supporting one another enough, and that shouldn't be the case. Queen, you are a good radio presenter. If you see that Khumo has the potential to become a future radio presenter, and you have the skill to empower her, why not?
Absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Why? I think on the 9th, I don't know why she's not Dr. De Brain. Why has no institution honored her and just given honor and become Dr. De Brain? She spoke something that a woman's success must not necessarily be judged by the amount of money that they have, or the amount of cars and qualification that they have. A woman's success must be judged by the number of women that she managed to bring up. So we have a challenge there of women not bringing other women up. Do you understand? So I think if we can fix that, then men won't even have an opportunity to come between us, Basad. Do you understand? Some of the things that we are happening is because we create a space for that as women. But you know, just to give a very silly advice, when I am dating a person, I take you.
Yeah,
instead
of attacking
the person.
Yeah, now
So, why must I have a fight with you while you are not the one who invited yourself in my marriage? It's him. So if we can bridge that gap where you women bring other women up, we won't be having men won't have a space to come and enter into our space and make decisions for us as women. Then men won't have that. But it's because they see a guy, Queen Arati Khumo, oh, it rhymes, Khumo Queen. So they use that as an advantage to break us even more. But and we work one another. Look, we're not threats here. We are not here to compete. We are here. We are not here to compete. I'm here to learn from you. And whatever craft that God has blessed you with, it's yours. Even if I come and imitate it, I want your craft is your craft, Khumo, Queen. Your craft is yours. But I'll never be queen. And whatever that is invoked in your spirit and as your gift, no one can take it away from. Even if you give it, even if you induct me and you bring me up, I won't be queen.
Yeah,
I won't.
You'll forever be cool.
I'll be forever queen, and you will be queen, and your art and your gifts and your talents will remain with you. I won't be able to take them by Bluetooth or osmosis. No, or Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And then you know, in most cases, how does one you know, in a risk offender anyone.
Correct.
Let's talk about the Young Women's Desk in Joburg and
Aha!
the relationship
Yes.
with the Women's League of the ANC in Greater Joburg, because you were referring to Palisa, who's I think in the national structure.
No, Palisa is in there are a lot of Palisas. There's Palisa, the head of elections of the Young Desk in Johannesburg.
So in terms of the Women's League, how do you work together as a desk?
How do we work together? Yo, I wish. Busi, are you watching? Where's Busi? Comment, come in.
Yeah.
Right. I think the stance that we took as the desk allowed the Women's League to be as they are. But we don't do anything without involving the coordinator to say there's nothing that we are doing in that. We are just briefing to say, like, now we have a POA that I know that is shared with somebody in the Women's League within the administrative, and it's hard. It's hard.
But it's Women's Month, and we are supposed to work together.
It's hard. I don't want to lie. It's very hard because now phone it's hard. It's hard. It's a challenge, but I'm not gonna lie. There are women who are working with us as a desk who are willing to look. It's a desk. It's more of a I call it a preparatory table.
Right.
It's not a women's league. We are not going to do things as thorough as the Women's League would do. It's a preparatory table for one to become a woman, and you understand. So we are bound to make mistakes. We take advices from previously people who have led the region before. Even the Women's League, to say how do we take advices from people who also led the desk before. Like, I'm very fortunate that I have a coordinator, Comrade Busin today, shout out to Busin today, who have led the desk before me. So most of the advices comes from her because I think she's in a better position as she's been the pioneer of the desk throughout, and she's the one who actually bring wisdom in the desk because she was a coordinator of the desk in previous years. So most of the wisdom we get from her. It comes with and that's another thing. Her sharing her experience with leading the desk does not take away anything from her. She still shines. There are other women's league that are assisting us and giving us umkhabul. I'm afraid of mentioning them. You understand? But we do have, and we communicate through our coordinator, whom I've said she's well experienced in this table. If there's one person who can turn the table, it's our coordinator doing an exceptional work in terms of integrating the desk with the Women's League. But
politics is tough.
Yeah, very, very, very.
10 minutes before we hit 1 o'clock, and thank you so much to everybody that has been sending those emojis, the likes, and Mazet Nyati. Thank you so much, Amanda, to that. And thank you so much to everybody that is tuning live on Facebook and also on YouTube, please make sure that you follow the ANC Greater Joburg Region page. It's ANC Greater Joburg Region on all social media platforms. Follow 1912 online radio and TV on all social media platforms. And we have a LinkedIn account. Just make sure that you connect with our page on LinkedIn. We also have YouTube. Please make sure that you subscribe. You just click on that subscribe button so that we have numbers. All I can imagine really membership ekana in Johannesburg, and if you can subscribe, our pages can grow even more. Comrade, let's talk about your plans for the rest of these elections. What's maybe just share the insight in terms of your POA. You've mentioned that you'll be visiting a lot of institutions of learning and door-to-doors and stuff. So where can people or young women that want to volunteer with your POA and come and assist the Young Women's Desk? I saw you do a lot of fun activities as well. Pressure. But where can one come and volunteer and be part of the Young Women's Desk?
Right. Before you become a volunteer of the Young Women's Desk, you must make sure that you're a member of an ANC. I think that's the important part.
That's number one.
I get it. You must start there. You can't be a desk member, not the ANC member. We also have, okay, apart from that, I wanted to speak about our socials, but let me just take it from there. So you must be a member of ANC. That's the first thing first. So that we know that we are charity begins at home. Charity begins at home. We have a you know, it's a women's league, but it's the women's league of the ANC. So everything it goes back to ANC. You must be a member of ANC and be in charge of your membership, and then you must join the women's league. That's the second part. You must be a member of women's league. I'm hoping it's one of the things that we can be able to achieve, where women's league's membership is also digital, where you can manage it. Like when ANC, you pay, you have the website. Then when you're a member of ANC in the women's league, then it becomes easy for you, because we have groups throughout the almost, is it a city? Yes, all the zones. Each and every in the entire Johannesburg, there are groups. We are still working with what do they call it? I almost said pseudonym. Yo, Khumo. We are still working with the previous leaders of the zones. Remember, Mayanga throughout the zones. So we have a platform where we have all young women that are interested in joining in terms of the group. That's where our coordinator is doing an excellent job by updating comrades in terms of the programs that we are having, the dialogue that we are going to have. So once you're in that group, I think I'll share the link also of how to join the group. But for going forward, in terms to answer your question of what is our plans. So when we speak of high institution of learning, we are also covering the TVET. I just forgot to say that, because that's another element. Yes, it's another element that we see our VET, CUJ, and we forget about our TVET colleges, of which are producing top notch. You know when you theory, it's theory, it's something else, but practicality, it's born. You can do wonders, right? So we are going to have that the young women's dialogue, obviously. We are now pushing the issue of registering of grade 1 and grade 8. We are trying to find yes, we're trying. It's mothers. It's very rare you see a father with the reports and the red card
of the photocopy.
And it's always us. It's always us. So we are working on a program that is going to assist, because luckily I'm familiar with the system of applying online.
So when is the closing date gonna? Because we need to give people that information.
The closing date is it 20 September. I'm not sure very fast.
At least we still have
we still have time, but we must apply now, because already by the first week they had recorded over 320,000 applicants just on the first week of applying. So if you're going to wait for the closing date, China, don't do that. So we are working on that, and also And while we are working on that, we want to also bridge a stigma of taking away our children, taking them to town schools. And utlogela Khumo Mogagole primary here.
Yeah.
And it's mostly women. Abo baba shem.
Ubaba akana stress.
Akana stress. Ubaba will make sure that there's uniform. They'll try shem. If they do not corner because exactly. So we want, especially our young mothers, to say, you know what? A teacher at Khumo Mogagole Primary and a teacher at St. 11 Primary, they went to the same lecture halls. Let's refrain from reaching in the midst of unemployment. We then take our kids outside schools, mullication,
or very far from
in town,
home, whereby now you need to
now you must pay transport. You understand? Of which here there's meal, there's breakfast, there's lunch. So we have to have that conversation and just put in confidence to our parents about applying for local schools. So it's just going to be one of those things. October, it's Cancer Month. I know a very young woman who lost her life through cancer. I'm not sure if I can mention, but we are also planning something around that to honor our women who
passed on and
who are also battling with it on daily basis. You understand? Because cancer is one of those things. There's no way that there's no method to say you prevent cancer by doing this. So the only that we can do is just to be there for one another and to best way of supporting and just being kind. So we have a whole lot of that. We are going to have prelim prayer. Now I want top 10 to be a girl. I'm not gonna problem. You can say whatever.
Yeah, but that one, yeah. My daughters are in matric.
Yeah, prelim prayer. Because when people start to write, so we need that, and that unfortunately it's only this prayer that you're going to have for elections is not something that the young women desk can do alone. It needs experience and come and guide and give the wisdom and give the word of the God. You know, so that what anything that has to do with prayer or any other program at large, it will need the collaborative of women from all walks of life, from all structures. Even women in the ANC, they must also come and assist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's just before we wrap up, where can people follow you? I see these days with a lot of content.
My learners listen better there. They don't like my voice. They like my voice on TikTok. Like I was teaching objects, right? So you can tell them that no, this is a cylinder in class. But then when you post that video saying it's a cylinder, they now come, oh ma'am, yes, you said this is a cylinder. I'm like, but what I posted and what I said in class is the same thing. But ma'am, that one.
They love
so
that.
I put content there because my learners would come to school with my work not done, but they'll comment on my videos. So what's the better way of learning, changing the system of learning and just putting it there? Whether you are Funa Mama, they have a way of manipulating phones.
Plus they also love the fact that they are seeing their teacher there.
So anything that I teach or anything that I feel that they must know, I just put it there. Social media, it's just but we have our young women desk Facebook.
Socials, yes.
Young women desk _Joburg, if I'm not sure. I think also even on Instagram we are there. Or not just follow Busing Tute. She's leading that department of and she's doing very well in terms of that. Yeah, but yeah, we have Facebook Young Women Desk Johannesburg, just like the page on social media. Let's interact, criticize my hair but give me solution. Or this hair here, if was don't put gold, put red. Don't say this gold is horrible. Just say, Khumo, this gold is horrible. But put a red one. Give me solutions. So let's follow one another. Let's interact. Let's learn from one another. Khumo mandi test so I'm here to learn. There's one of the pastoral roles of a teacher that they say, a teacher is a lifelong learner.
True.
It means that last day you learn as a teacher. You may have your masters and honors and PhD.
But it's a day to
you learn every day until you get into a box.
Your last message to voters, just 30 seconds.
ANC is the only hope for our people. let us go out in numbers and vote. Yes, there are many challenges that needs to be sorted. Every house has its own challenges, whether marriage, whether mjolo, kereke, everything. So allow the ANC to deal with its challenges, but let's ensure that we vote. Without ANC, there's no life. There's no life, but let's allow it to deal with challenges of service delivery. Is there, it's noted. And we hope that our leaders will also accelerate so that we are speaking the same thing. You understand? Yeah. So let's go out and ensure that we win in majority. We vote. Remember, before you write that paper 3, I'm sure it will be a holiday on the 4th, right?
Yeah.
They're going to vote. Let's make sure that we go out and vote in numbers. We have a manifesto this coming weekend on the 23rd. Let us also go there, and get umpago on why we should continue to vote for ANC. And Riverside is a very special settlement that was given birth by the ANC. Let's go and look at how ANC envisioned us as black people to be in, as opposed to the system that was used to pack black people. Let's go to Riverside this coming Sunday, and then see how ANC envisioned our I'm
definitely looking forward to seeing you there. I'm looking forward to seeing the young ministers there. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. There was Khumo, Khumo the TikToker, Khumo the teacher, Khumo. There's a trending picture trendy Khumo during a ANC Youth League march. Yeah, that picture. Even I think in history, whoever that captured that picture one day, I took this picture. Nonetheless, 2 minutes after 1 o'clock, we are just above 2 minutes. But however, let's make sure that we go out there, we do the door-to-door, we push as much as we can. A lot of things so that campaign be a success. We have a lot of in fact the program start this week because all roads lead to go Riverside, go Deep Sloot. And let's just make sure we nourish and cherish this organization, this glorious movement. ANC ithanda abantu, the ANC cares, the ANC loves its people, and let's just make sure that we go out in our numbers and encourage all our community members, our community leaders. Harsh on them, but also let's correct the past mistakes that we have done, especially in our branches. Let's let's just make sure that we are with our people. Also, make sure that you follow all our social media platforms. Anything that we post, reshare, like, retweet, comment, engage. We are definitely looking forward to liking your comments. Also, make sure that you don't text and drive, you don't drink and drive. It's a long week. Even the organizational reserve, we see our comrades are fighting on a day-to-day, but let's just make sure we unite for the sake of the ANC that we say we love. Anyway, goodbye.
Bye-bye.